Welcome back to LCS Challengers, and man, Fear are just racking in those pentakills. They get another one, this time with Shochi. It's gotta feel great, man.
I mean, the only question you gotta ask is how early in the fight was Shochi actually calling for the pentakill, right? You know that Perry started calling for his own after only 2 kills. And so now we get to see Shochi once again absolutely popping off 1,200 damage per minute. Absolutely insane. As we called out before, the same number of kills as the entire opposing team combined.
Jeez.
Gabby, that's a 19.0 KDA, Gabby.
Yeah,
43% damage share.
That's a hefty one right there. And even with Taco, they were able to kill him once?
Yeah, I mean, Shochi
Shochi
might have gotten a little bit kind of excited about that one.
He's not
just Rocky
Jinx.
jumping
What are you
into the back
talking
line
about?
by himself, you know.
True. He just jumps right on in, says, yeah, that's it. And we do have a official number that is setting a new record for most kills in a single game in the split at 17. The previous highest was also Team Fish Taco game. It was Spawn getting 15 against Supernova.
It's good.
Go ahead, Gabby, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, because Tristana is one of those champions that can look really bad because of how you can rocket jump in and then just things go terribly wrong. So when it looks good, you got to give props to the player for being able to use the aggressive portion of her kit, but then knowing those margins and being able to reset and get out, which becomes easier as time goes on and she gets stronger. But in the early stages, needs to get set off the right way, which she did.
And let me bring you into a piece of history right here. Back when it was the Proving Grounds back in spring, Shochi also got a pentakill. It was on Tryndamere, and the team he was playing for, Taco Gaming. So this is a little bit of vengeance. They took the tag of Taco Gaming, Team Fish Taco. He's going to beat them and earn it right on back. I mean, Taco Gaming's not really coming back, but still. It doesn't fit my narrative. This is the narrative that I have right now, and it's pure hype for Shochi. I mean, that's got to feel great year to year. You got to get your yearly pentas. Have you got your annual penta, Josh?
I was actually very close, but no, I haven't yet.
Abby?
Does ARAM count?
ARAM does count.
No.
Okay.
There's still time. We're only in July.
Let's get into the Rally Cry halftime show. We're going to be playing a little game called Pixel Perfect. As you can see right here, I got the scoreboard available. You'll be picking a category out of 1-bit, 8-bit, or 16-bit. Tells you the quality of the picture you'll be receiving. And you have to guess the situation that happened on the Rift based on that picture. 1 bits are worth 3 points, 8 bits are worth 2 points, 16 bits are worth 1 point. Do we understand the rules?
Yeah, Gabby, you've done this one before, right?
I have. I was trying to remember how successful I was. I feel like I was average or below.
I have to say, I'm pretty sure Colorcasters have like a 90% win rate in this one, but it all comes down to whether or not we can figure out what's happening in the 1-bits. If we can do that, I don't think we've ever lost.
All right, Gabby, you are our guest right now, so I want you to go ahead and pick our first one for us.
I'll go 1-bit.
Go 1 bit?
All right, trying to steal the points early.
Uh-huh.
All right, see?
All right.
Figure out what this one is.
So that's an enchanted crystal arrow. And this was... Okay, the angle is this way. So I'm trying to remember when Onak got hit mid, it would have been that way. So this would have had to be... But this is like going down mid. I'm just going to guess that this was when the arrow went down mid and ended up crashing into multiple members of Taco. There was a fight that was initiated.
Got it wrong. You were very, very close, Josh.
All right, is this the one where Shochi spends an extra 5 seconds hitting the turret and then kills Onat?
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking that that's what I was first thinking, but I thought the arrow came from like the top side, like jungle a bit more, like, you know, that part of the lane. Dang, I should have went with that.
You were on the right track.
Yeah.
You did correctly identify it was the crystal arrow. Unfortunately, there were a lot of those that game.
Yeah, man, dang it. That was mine to grab, Josh.
I appreciated the attempt, but now, Eric, it's time. We got to get the other one, but if we can get this, we lock it in. Colorcaster supremacy.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. All right.
Wait,
all
why
right.
is it all 3 points? I was about to say, I forgot it was 3 points for that, and I was about to be like, production, hold up. You already giving Joshi 3, but okay.
Oh, jeez.
All right, Josh, what do you got?
I am going to guess this is the 3v3 fight where JJ and Perry flash over the line brush wall next to mid lane and kill Onan. This is where I'm screaming, "Own that down!"
Gabby, you have a chance. Hurry, steal it.
Was this?
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure what's even on screen.
Yeah, I'm trying. Is that like when they had the fight around Dragon and then it was chaotic and separated, and then Shochi and Lunacia were mid and kind of duking it out? There were multiple. Is it like a little bit of the cluster in the mid part of that fight?
Wrong again.
Ooh,
this
no points.
was First Blood. Over in the top lane, Lunacia taking down.
I was like, because it was Jack spinning, but I thought it might have been when I thought there were more, but I guess it was just minions.
Yeah. I thought it was
champs.
To me, it looked like a Rakan grand entrance, which is why I was.
That's also like a spinny one.
And honestly, this was one of the better performances of Lunacia multiple times. I thought Lunacia was going to kind of take over this game.
Yeah.
I guess it would have made sense for it to be early too, just like for the likelihood of having sustain popped and the green and stuff. So it's like, all right.
That makes sense.
I
mean, I do respect it, right? One of the big things we always tell Steve is like, hey, you can't just do your 16 bits early on in the game. You gotta mix it up on us a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't follow that advice. Gabby, it's your turn.
I'll do the 8.
All right. Hold on, let me find it first. Okay.
Let's see what.
All right, here we go. What's going on here?
Going on here?
I figure out which. This is in the mid lane. I'm trying to remember when. This is. I'm trying.
What things do you see on? You see mid lane. What else? What champion?
Yeah. Well, I can't see the actual champion, but I feel like I see mid abilities and stuff. So like, right off. My eyes deceiving me. I feel.
You gotta get some of the Riz going here, Gabby. It'll give you more power.
I'm just gonna call it being a Shochi play across mid to finish off this turret.
You know what? Because I hate Josh.
What?
This was a solo kill from Jochi. You take down.
And he jumped twice after this.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh,
give Gabby a
why
point.
all that purple? All the effect of like the gravity field and stuff like. Over it, I couldn't like see that's Trist, like, you know what I mean, like all the particle effects and stuff from the. Oh man,
we also don't see Trist enough.
Yeah, like because I was like, is that like a minion in the middle of like the field or like what? I was like, what is that there? But
I'm pretty sure it's the demon Tristana skin that he's playing with, because I can kind of make out the face. But all right, Eric.
Every Tristana skin too. I should know that she's like the champion that I learned League on. So I used to play a lot. All
right, Eric. I see how it's going. You're saying it's a Shochi play is enough at this point. Let's get the other 8-bit on the screen.
All right. I'll be honest with you. I kind of mixed them up a little bit. So this was actually supposed to be a 1-bit, but for you, it's a
what? What is that? This is an 8-bit? Okay.
This is caster's therapy you're witnessing.
This, I'm going to guess this was NXI's massive jump over the wall where he catches 4 people with the Magnet Storm, and then they have the super crazy fight breaking out.
Josh. Why you gotta do me like that?
Yeah!
You can see the armor, right? Like I feel like that's what the rel armor there. You start saying, I was like, no, don't say it.
All right. Gabby, you are next. You got a minute left, so go ahead and toss whichever you want.
Yeah, it's just 16 now, right? I think, yeah. Let's go for it. The first 16 one, or the second.
All right.
Whatever the second one you look at.
This 16-bit is going to be worth 4 points as it comes up on the screen right now. What play is this?
Looking at the name. This is the Penta.
Ding, ding, ding.
The Penta life. With the emote over.
You get it, yeah. I was thinking I was gonna just do it on the emote alone, and then I was like, I need another 16 bits, so we gotta expand this. But yes, this is the Shochi Pentakill, his annual Pentakill. Jay.
For whatever reason. Yes! Because the play-by-plays need to represent. Y'all colorcasters been getting away with wins for far too long, okay?
All right, quick one, Josh, to tie it.
No, don't tie it.
This is when Perry's getting caught up in the top lane and he boots Lunacia back over him and he ends up dying anyway.
Yeah, worth -1 points. Josh now at 4, Gabby at 6.
You didn't play the political game enough.
Oh my god.
Right.
I'm gonna have to appeal this one, see if we can get a 6-3 decision anyway. Take 2 points away from me.
I'm the final on this. I'm the judge. I'm also your executioner into this one. And the jury as well. That's another one that's there. You know what? Let's move on to the next game. Let's see what we got coming. What else Team Fish Taco can do to try and swing back at fear.
Let's find out.
It'll be a good one. That was honestly a really interesting draft coming through from Cincinnati Fear, right? We have to remember that last week, they did in fact pick one of the wrong champions. They ended up blocking Katarina when they did not mean to. A little bit of an unfortunate situation for them, but now as they move back in, they get to use a little bit more of their prep, and Team Fish Taco moving over to the red side. It's definitely going to give them an opportunity to get some counter picks up in the top lane for Lunacia in particular, who did do a fantastic job with the Jax blind.
I always appreciate when moments like that happen, because listening to the cast and you're, oh yes, and this is the reasoning and everything happening, and then it's
yeah. See,
never mind.
We didn't know at the time that the Katarina was a mispick for the entire game until the very end, and we're just like, yeah, you know, they're trying to make things happen. There's a Katarina on the screen. It didn't do a whole lot, but this is an entirely different game going against Team Fish Taco, and we have to remember that this time around, Gabby, it was a 1-0 coming out from Cincinnati Fear, but the last time they played against each other, they did end up splitting games, and so far, it definitely feels as though maybe not all of Fear, but definitely Shochi has experienced that growth spurt, and I'm not sure if Team Fish Taco is going to be tall enough.
Yeah, and I think that Shochi is very prepared to run it back with the Tristana, unless they wanted to flex it to some degree. But Taco, I'm sure, prepared for that onslaught. Fear also made sure to deny Lunacia that Jax that did perform so well in bullying Philip in the top lane. Ooh. The Ivern coming out. So this is a pick that has been rising in prominence over the past weeks, particularly on 13.12. And what do you make of it, Joshi? How much have you seen of it here in the NACL?
I ban it every single game. I have not seen any of this champion in my own games because it is so unfun to play against. But it is a champion that hasn't necessarily had the most success here in the Challengers League so far, because so many of our junglers have struggled to adapt to more the control style that the Ivern does bring to the game. You can't make as many plays, and it really limits one of Team Fish Taco's primary win conditions, which has historically been Rosarm plays Kindred and invades the enemy jungle and just kills someone, right? It's a lot harder to just kill someone outright on the Ivern on your own, but it instead puts pressure on somebody else on his team to now take a bigger role in terms of how they're actually going to be doing damage across the board.
Puts pressure to follow up on the damage, but also be able to work with the tools that Ivern does have available. But as you're noting, does have some weaknesses that you have to play around. Very susceptible to invades, for instance, because of the way that he operates through the jungle. But Taco is already trying to bring some form of aggression, putting the tools of the Renekton in the top lane to try to play that lane pretty aggressively. It's also great when you can have multiple forms of the utility that Rel in combo with Ivern can have too. So starting to form together a composition here on Taco's side. Fear having some bans to do of their own now in the second round.
We've also seen that this Renekton Ivern has had a lot of success so far. I believe it was Doklan Contracts who actually played in LCS that we got to see. Is like, wow, the Renekton just doesn't die the entire game. You're just so hard to actually take down. And now I have a similar worry with Cincinnati Fear's draft as we saw in game 1, right? Philip was not able to bring enough magic damage as the Gragas to create situations where they force their opponents to itemize differently. And now with the Kennen, one of the best counter picks into the Renekton, and this Tristana already being hovered, it's not obvious exactly where it is that they're going to be. They're bringing their magic damage. They will have to show us where they're going to do that right now. And I have to imagine that Shochi, after that first game on Tristana, wants to play it again. Right? You just have so many tools. You can be super, super aggressive. But my only worry about that is I really want to give this Tristana down to Manui because it's super good against Kai'Sa.
Yeah, and I mean, Kai'Sa is another one of those champions that has risen with the changes of itemization, and we've seen her flexed around a bit. And in the previous matches of both of these teams, they have been able to pilot the pick thus far. This will be the third game on the pick for Spawn specifically. We'll see how Fear end up deciding to adapt and what Manui ends up wanting to play. I mean, with this team particularly, you're always going to see those first bans with Seraphine and Ziggs. Those are towards Manui, who has been able to bring some of that magic into other portions of the map, but we're going a different direction, it seems.
Whoa. And this Karth is currently being hovered, right? That looks like it's going to be going over towards Manui again. He is definitely the player who is most likely to bring these mages down into the bottom side of the map and will be able to do a lot of magic damage. Now, generally, if you're going to be playing Karthus, you want to do it as a solo magic damage source, and so that really heavily implies that Philip very likely to be going towards a tank style of gameplay here in the top lane on this Gragas. And Lunacia really got the better of him last game, but it is less pressure on the Gragas to actually have a strong laning phase, and you're a little bit more about the power that you just have across the board with your basic itemization. So, Team Fish Taco this time, they have some cool tools. They have the Renekton Talia, which can lock people down. They have a lot of pressure coming through from Onat, and the Talia less susceptible to being blown up by Tristana than the Victor was. So Team Fish Taco, a little bit of a different style coming out from them, but still a lot of the same core that they want to group up as a unit and create a death ball.
And how do you think that death ball is going to fare against what's been brought on the other side? Because as you just mentioned, Onat has some more tools to try to offset the pressure of Tristana, but there's a lot of elements going on both sides.
The big thing is going to be how Spawn and NXI actually create pressure down in the bottom side, right? If they can get some push down there, they can really support Rosethorn moving around the map, taking a lot of these camps off the table, and really making Cincinnati Fear kind of play on the back foot, because Ivern has some really strong ganks across the board. The top lane, this used to be really Gragas favored. I'm pretty sure now with the changes to the Gragas passive, which is actually a lot better for Renekton than it has been in the past, and you really are going to be kind of forced to go towards a tank build to even have an opportunity to play.
And I think that focus that you put on Renekton specifically was important in the draft, not just how Ivern and Renekton had worked in that example that you cited with Contracts and Dokla, but also just Renekton as a pick in the top lane in general. We saw Impact, for instance, right, in FlyQuest just yesterday, really able to survive so much in these fights. And Lunacia, having played the matchup so aggressively on the Jax previously, I'm sure will want to continue pressuring Philip on this Gragas run back in the same exact way.
And interestingly enough, one of the things I always like watching from Ivern's around the map is how they actually choose to go for some of these paths. There are some very cool things you can do on the Ivern. We have seen, I believe it was Santorin was the one who showcased some of the best things you could actually do on this character in your ability to move around in interesting ways, use your Q to hop over cool walls. But so far, not going to have to pay attention to that just quite yet. It's going to be on parry to try and be a little bit more aggressive early on to create pressure. That's a Ghost.
Ooh. Already grabbing some sums here on the bot side. Spawn and Jay, but you're going to be a bit happier about taking a summoner away from Spawn specifically.
Yeah. Oh! Bang.
Coming on in. I mean, last game when Shoshi came through, actually had started with the rocket jump to try and get that early pressure onto Onat, and that's how they were able to draw out that initial flash and then end up collapsing through and through. But a bit of a different start this time around, as obviously these teams pathed differently. Fear sending the entirety of their team towards that bot side initially to see if they could find a Rosethorn, but then weren't able to do so before returning to their lanes.
Yeah. We do get to see Rosethorn showing off a little bit of what you can do with the Ivern. He's already significantly ahead of Perry in terms of tempo on the map. He's got the smite. He can actually choose to try and steal some of these camps away as Perry looks for him.
Coming around, Perry sees him though. Over the wall with a clone, and NXI and Spawn, that bot lane here to play. Same with JJ and Manui. But the spacing was enough, so Taco just getting some pressure into Perry's jungle, and Philip already feeling the brunt of the force. It is a different champion, but the same player.
Yeah, and Lunacia is so good at creating pressure up in the top lane, especially when he knows where both junglers are. He's so good in the 1v1s, and so far, I mean, oh, they're going.
Ferromancy, exhaust expelled onto Spawn, and Spawn going on in with the flash, but first blood drawn by Manui. Just the 1-for-1 currently as far as the team's overall score.
Yeah, and Team Fish Taco will be able to freeze it up as Perry looking for Rose Thorn, trying to make sure that they get a little bit something in recompense for his own red buff, and will be able to push Rose Thorn away. But still, whoa. Every single time I kind of watch Lunacia do anything on this map, it's like, oh god, is Philip gonna go down?
It's actually just a fun lane to watch on its own because of that. There always feels like there's some kind of kill pressure, right? But, you know, no solo kill to kick this game off, not like the last time around.
Yeah. And the two junglers spotting each other yet again as they go for the topside crab, and Rosethorn knows he does not have the support of his mid laner, will have to give up that crab, but it is no worries as Rosethorn continues just moving up towards the top side. Philip needs to be very careful. There are really good angles you could throw out the root from across the wall.
Hanging around for a little bit of time, but not too much. Harry currently on Gromp, and Rosethorn has been spending a lot of time trying to bully through, throwing down the brush, standing within it, and Lunacia is also making the rotation in case there's a major contest here. Harry falling into some trouble, stunned up, run on down. Perry has fallen. Lunacia already reaping some gold.
Yeah, he's still being very aggressive with all of these invades. He's not doing the damage himself, but he's been setting up for other players, and this time Lunacia is the one who actually gets the kill. And so far, I mean, this is a really good look for Rosethorn, right? We've known him mostly to have success on the current. It has been by far his best champion so far in Summer. But now showcasing a little bit of opportunity to do different kinds of things, creating opportunities for the top side in Lunacia.
Yeah, over Rosethorn's time within Tier 2, he's really developed this identity as this aggressive jungler and making these early plays and doing so in a different fashion this time. JJ wants to make the early play. Rosethorn is pathing on down, multiple stun him at the knockup as NXI goes for the play, but Manui falling low, Spawn right down on top, reaps the reward. But Taco's still in pursuit. Perry and JJ are fairly healthy. NXI, not so much anymore. Double kill granted over towards Spawn, and Shochi's already coming to the party, seeing if he can get the cleanup onto Rosethorn. Rosethorn flashes out of it, and Onat down upon the Weaver's Wall has come to play, has to flash away. So there are so many summoners expelled, lots of kills drawn, and plenty of action on this bot side.
You gotta feel for Manui though, he's getting kind of experience screwed in a lot of these fights because he's going down while his wave is pushing out, losing out on a lot of what Karthus actually needs in these fights. But I just take another look at this. Manui using up a lot of his mana, toggling this E, trying to get the damage down, ends up having to flash, and look at that, Karthus with no mana, going for a couple of extra auto attacks on Spawn, not going to be particularly threatening, consistently looking to try and be aggressive. And honestly, it's Perry who's the hero of this play as he goes around trying to find these last bits of damage, ignoring Rosethorn entirely to go for a play onto the other members.
And while that replay was going on, you could see Philip and Lunacia were duking it out on the top side. Philip had used the explosive cast to try and finish off Lunacia, who almost had fallen, but then able to get some healing off of the creeps moving on through. And then even with the jungler moving up, nothing else was found of it, but action on the bot side was responded by some aggression up top.
Again, I mean, it has been Lunacia who looked pretty good. Hasn't found the solo kill just quite yet. There's going to be a small lead coming out for Team Fish Taco across the board, but it has been flipped a little bit here, Gabby, right? Where the later the game went in Game 1, the easier it became for Team Fish Taco to play. Victor was going to have powerful lasers. This game is not the same.
No lasers this time. Another exhaust use on Spawn. And Manui's just falling into so much damage. Can't create the space. He's in passive mode. Can get some lockdown as well, but JJ just retreating towards the turret. Rosethorn's nearby. JJ, you might have to say goodbye. Does manage to grant entrance over the wall, or battle dance rather, but there's Daisy. Daisy knows how to hit hard. Every third hit hits pretty hard.
Yes,
JJ
no pickles.
wants to escape. Gets stunned up for a moment. Manui, I'll battle dance to ya. Survives it all on the onslaught.
And still, this is what we were saying was going to need to be one of the big differences for Team Fish Taco, right? It comes down, they had priority early on in the game and allowed Rosethorn to invade into Perry's jungle. Now they're winning some of these 2v2s all on their own. And this is one of the major opportunities for Team Fish Taco to close this one out, right? When Spawn is strong and Manui is weak, you have so many more opportunities to be aggressive on the bottom half of the map. You're putting the Karthus super far behind because, as we were touching on before, Gabby, Cincinnati Fear scale incredibly hard. You have a Tristana, you have a Karthus. Both these characters are going to be doing incredible amounts of damage later on in the game, overriding a lot of Rosethorn shields. But it's on Cincinnati Fear to get there in the first place, and trying to go up against Spawn and Onat while they're both going to be on one item is going to be a really tough time for Cincinnati Fear to even try and contest these dragons.
Exactly. Difficult to step up, and you're seeing that fully in action as Taco take on the first dragon of the game, and JJ just wants to clear some of the wards in the process. But as you're saying, Fear later on will have so much damage. It's all about relying upon Shochi and even some of the work from an explosive cast, for instance, to whittle down the health bars of Taco, and a Requiem able to finish them off. So Taco, I'm sure, are thinking about that timing and trying to get these early leads to offset that.
And so, Team Fish Taco with a dragon with a very strong Spawn. This has been a bit of a flip from what we were looking at before. And Spawn has been one of the exciting players to me, right? You're talking about how he didn't have the most exciting of debuts in LCS for Dignitas, but this has been one of the most fascinating splits for me to be watching Spawn, because he was a very, we'll say defensive AD carry previously, but now he's been so much more aggressive in this split, constantly looking for these opportunities to try and go forward. That has really changed what I think a lot of people who have been watching Challengers League actually think of the player. If he can continue to be more aggressive, it's going to allow him to find all these opportunities to turn like undecided fights into winning ones, which was something that he was never able to do before.
Yes, exactly. I think it kind of builds upon something that I believe you brought up on a previous broadcast to Spawn, where when a player is willing to make the plays that sometimes look really good, sometimes really look bad, then that shows that potential. I'll pause on that as Onek gets a decent amount of damage onto Shochi here, versus those that make tempered plays and never really try to go for it, then it feels as if they've reached some kind of ceiling. So Spawn showing that willingness to go aggressive and take the risky plays that can make for these extremely heroic moments shows that he has such high potential and can be that player to win the game. And a lot of times for a good AD carry player, it comes down to having that clutch factor for whenever it's needed for the team. There will be times, no matter how good your team is, that you're going to be down, and you want to rely upon the positioning and the execution of your greatest damage to be able to follow up and turn things around. And Spawn, I think, has proven in moments that he can do that.
We'll see if he can do that now, right? Because he's 420, he's blazing it on the Rift right now. He has the tools necessary to take over, but it's going to be on the rest of Team Fish Taco to try and create space on the map. Now, that was a very surprising ult to me, I'm going to be honest. Maybe he's trying to keep Lunacia up in the top lane, but the bigger thought for me is he doesn't have first strike. He's not just farming gold off of that one. And so I wonder if he's just getting a Dark Harvest stack? I don't know, it's very odd to me.
Something I'm trying to stack for later. Not entirely sure there, but nonetheless, we still have some time also until the next major objective on this bot side comes to be 2 minutes until the dragon. So Tochi and the team were looking for a setup of warding, but Perry's already in trouble. Has to flash over the wall, and Daisy has been drawn. NXI into the backline is in trouble. Oh, no. Spawn exhausted again. Shut down by Manui. Shochi rocket jumping in, tried to get the kill onto Onat, but Onat still has just under 100 HP to his name. Double kill drawn by Rosethorn. The bot lanes traded on both sides.
And you can see that Manui has been so aggressive in these plays, right? We saw this down in the bot lane when he was flashing forward with no mana, once again flashing forward in these fights, constantly saying, yes, we can continue going. That is the comms coming through from Cincinnati Fear, always looking for these big fights. But as we look towards the next fight, there's going to be a lot of flashes down on both sides. We'll take a look in particular at Spawn, right? He's the one with the most gold in this game, and as he actually goes for this big fight, we see him coming in from a bit of an off angle. He spots out Parry and tries to go in, but ends up just getting exhausted and blown up. They have enough tools to turn on him immediately, and they're an auto attack or two away from this going terribly wrong for Team Fish Taco. If Onak goes down, if Rosethorn goes down from the ensuing jumps, that's a huge fight.
Now back to live. The fight continues temporarily. Rosethorn brings out Daisy once more. And JJ wants to make sure that Shochi doesn't get too collapsed upon. Of course, Shochi has that rocket jump to get out as soon as a connection is made by Taco, but it's pushing them off of the river currently, where the wards are in the favor of Fear. 25 seconds until that dragon spawns, and Taco are looking for the space to try and place down some wards of their own. Yeah,
Shochi needs to be very careful, right? He does have enough vision. The teleports are starting to be committed. Lunacia going up towards the top side of the map, so they won't be losing anything there. But Philip, his teleport is up very shortly, and the dragon is spawning as well. Now this is going to be a tough fight if Cincinnati Fear does try to take it, right? With all of the items coming through, it is still Spawn who is the strongest player on the map, as long as he can choose his angles. And Cincinnati Fear are going to have to go for a retake if they want to play this. Instead, going for the mid lane, and kaboom! Yordle Demolition.
Yeah. You can see the pings coming out on the top side and mid as well from Fear, so giving that indication that, okay, Taco have collapsed upon the dragon. It's the second at that. So Rosethorn securing it, but Fear able to knock down a turret. And the mid turret being the one to fall is always good for a team. To crack that open, increase your movement when going for the Rift Herald so you can get some of these deeper wards. It'll make it more difficult for Lunacia or Rosethorn to attempt to step up to this, and I don't think Fear are worried about any potential contest.
Yeah, and his players on opposite sides of the map are just wailing away on these structures. Lunacia not able to walk top, but Manui will be able to cancel a lot of the pressure down on the bottom side of the map, and it will be Fear walking away with the Rift Herald at this time. So even though they give up the dragon, it is not the end of the world. The big question is going to be, are Cincinnati Fear strong enough to fight for the next one? I'm pretty sure the answer is very likely to be yes. They are right on the verge of getting a lot of their components for their second items, and they still have 4 minutes after that. As another turret goes down, Cincinnati Fear ballooning a gold lead after not fighting for the dragon.
And I think those early dragons are always the ones that you're okay with giving up, especially when you've got Shochi still building into that gold. When you have him taking down that turret, and you know Tristana was such a huge component in Fear's victory in the first match, that you're hoping to lean on that carry potential here as well. And, I mean, it's not like it's the only tool you have available. Karthus will end up just getting stronger and stronger. Teleport coming in from Fear.
There's no way.
Philip collapsing with Jay onto Rosethorn. Explosive cast to separate the two, and Rosethorn in the brush flashes over, but Jay follows up. Requiem has been activated, gets a little tickle onto Onat, but the kill was already secured. Taco Rosethorn taken down.
And great play coming through from Philip and JJ, using both of their opportunities to prevent Rosethorn from getting away. He goes in, he gets the red buff successfully, but he doesn't get out with his life. Looking at you, Josh, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. But now at Cincinnati Fear, this is where their gold lead becomes absolutely insane. If they're going to be taking down this bottom lane turret, they have an opportunity to play for the second crash at the same time. And Team Fish Taco, they're kind of pushed behind. We haven't seen the death ball that they had drafted having an opportunity to move together on the map in order to try and take some of these big fights. It's been a lot of these small skirmishes, which has not been their purview so far this split.
The small skirmishes right now for Fear paying off with getting that second charge on the Rift Herald on that bot side. So they were able to, because NXI didn't have the range and Onat wasn't enough to be able to poke it off. So 3,000 gold up for Fear. Not too worried about those dragons yet. It's going to be an Infernal Soul, so some damage to worry about later on, but could potentially try and combat that soul point.
Yeah.
You still have 2 minutes to set up for it, which is why Fear are playing a bit aggressively in their attempt to push these lanes up, and Daisy already used to keeping them off. Perry's going for the play, Cyclone and on in, and Jay with a follow-up. Rosethorn gets charmed, an attempt to throw out some cues from Onat, but it's Rosethorn blasted and made in the past.
Another kill picked up, another pick onto Rosethorn. If Lunacia can get the turret up on the top side, it's going to be worth for Team Fish Taco. But still, another spot where Team Fish Taco, this has been one of the criticisms we have had, right? And even a criticism we could leverage at them in Game 1. Lunacia, very good to laning phase.
Nat used the Weaver's Wall to get in range of Manui. Didn't want to get Seismic shoved back, so flashes away.
But yeah, it's the same complaint that we could leverage at them in the past, right? Lunacia has always been this good laner, but hasn't always necessarily understood where they need to be on the map. They've been a little bit distinct. When Team Fish Taco are winning games, because Lunacia is joining the rest of the team. This one ends up being worth it, but it's also a spot where you have to be very careful if that happens again, with the next dragon spawning in 50 seconds. This is on Cincinnati Fear. They're the ones who need to start trying to find these big opportunities to go for these fights. They want to be here first, and they want to dare Team Fish Taco to try and challenge them.
And make something happen while you have that gold lead. Almost at 4,000 now. We're about to hit 20 minutes. And Taco wasn't able to stock quickly enough, and Shochi's going in for it. Spawn, though, still has the damage to ditch back onto Shochi, and in the back lane, the gravity is pulled on in. The Magnet Storm is good. Teleport centering in the mall. Requiem pop, but Spawn should be able to heal it out with the shields. Whew. A little scrappy there, 1-for-1. Support traded for bot laner, but all the while, the dragon is spawning in 5 seconds time. And it is Fear that are first to be in Riverside.
Look, as soon as Shochi jumped in, I was getting ready to call the police because that looked illegal AF. And now, I mean, he ends up getting away with it, right? He lives. It's Manui who pays for his sins, but Cincinnati Fear is still in control, and as NXI comes out of the base, it's going to be really tough for Team Fish Taco to get in time to the dragon. It looks like they're going to try anyway.
Dominus only fully up. Weaver's Wall just became a possibility and immediately used, but Perry has already secured the dragon. Lunacia has separated Perry off. Rosethorn, again, the first to fall. Jay into some trouble and tries to get to the side of Manui, but Onat throws down, wanting to shove him back. And even on the attempted belly out of the exit from Philip, he's still eliminated. Manui, only one standing for the squad. NXI easily able to step behind him. And that's a clean play here from Taco in the fight, though their stacking has been stopped with that dragon secured by Fear.
But they're moving over to the Baron immediately, and Team Fish Taco should have the damage to do this. Philip will not respawn in time, the teleport will not be there, and Team Fish Taco, yeah, they lose Dragon like you said, but they are in a fantastic spot to pick up the Turo Baron buff of the game. Start looking to recoup a lot of the issues that they were having earlier on. Lunacia joining up with the team, playing a huge part of that last fight.
They're still sticking on Baron. Spawn is very low. JJ uses Squire's Bloom to find him, and Rosethorn securing the Baron. Some flashes out so that Taco don't have to engage in the fight that they don't want to, but Phil going over the wall to set it up for JJ to be able to follow with the battle dance, and Rosethorn using Daisy to try and get them smacks on him. Good route onto Philip, but JJ's still going in. Wanted to try for the knockup. Can't connect enough. Explosive cast. Answered with the flash. Rosethorn shielding himself all the way. But Shochi eventually gets the kill. But nonetheless, Taco did secure the Turo Baron buff and lost their jungler after the fact.
Yeah, but still, rough way to start off the Turo Baron buff, right? Losing a ton of tempo. Cincinnati Fear are completely in Team Fish Taco's side of the map. It's going to put a lot of pressure and really deny a lot of opportunity for Team Fish Taco to continue pushing forward with the Baron they did just earn. And every minute that this game goes longer, the easier and easier it becomes for Manui to just pop people with that ultimate, to just keep them inside that danger circle. As we saw in that last one, it's not completely easy.
Nui knows that Perry's here, spinning it to win it, and NXI has fallen.
I don't know if that one counts as a bait, because he was just farming. People were actually trying to leave. But they're going to look at the previous fight. The big thing here is as people start moving around is the way that Shoji gets caught on the stun. And then as he tries to jump out, gets caught by the Magnet Storm from NXI, the primary source of damage from Cincinnati Fury, taken down immediately in the fight. And Manui, I mean, his build is a really low damage build for a Karthus. The Leandris takes forever to take players down. The Riley's does not do a ton of damage. And as Lunacia and NXI, the relatively tanky members, come through at the end, there's not an opportunity for Spawn to actually go down. He's got too many shields, too much HP.
All that shielding, definitely putting in the work. Right now, just under a minute's time left on the Turbo Baron buff for Taco, seeing what they can make with it. But Fear, because of that, they have to respond by not venturing past that line of skirmish. They have decent amount of warding over on bot side. Weaver's Wall utilized, so Manui and JJ sent under the turret. Philip and Perry all the while are rotating towards bot because they want to answer Lunacia on that push.
Yeah, and they get one structure so far, right, with the Baron buff, but it's not a particularly successful Baron. This is mostly going to be buying them some opportunities to be ready to fight for the upcoming Dragon, but as they are sieging here in the mid lane, Shochi just completely uncontested up on the top side. He will definitely get that turret there.
And the matching that Shochi is doing is definitely drawing some of that value out of the push of Taco currently. They do finally finish off that mid turret with the remainder of that buff that has just now expired, but Shochi really matching nicely on that top side.
All right, Shochi.
Ready for the lock. NXI stuns up, rocket jumps out. Shochi going ahead and trying to bust him away, but you won't come to play today, Manui. In with the work of the Requiem. That is the power of having a Karthus.
Oh my god, Shochi Manui teaming up from across the map.
Yep.
That's an escape and a half coming through. So much pressure from Shochi. Able to pick up Spawn on the backside of that, has the BT. He can stay on the map if he wants to, but Spawn gonna be dead for this upcoming Dragon. That's gonna be another one going over to Cincinnati Fear. And Cincinnati Fear, right, even though it's a relatively low AP, low damage build coming out from Manui, doesn't matter as much when you just have a ton of extra buffs coming through. Your AP is just increased by having these Infernal Dragons. And Cincinnati Fear, while they haven't necessarily figured out exactly how to take some of these front-to-back team fights, they're going for very hypey plays, trying to find a lot of these picks. They are still in a spot where they are absolutely looking for ways to end this game and prove that Team Fish Taco haven't had their growth spurt.
And
hello.
Fear continuing to follow up. Philip flashes over the wall, waiting for the teleport assistance, and Dominus pops and coming right back with the resurrect of the GA, but Lunacia still surrounded by blue bars. Can't rip anyone down with them. So Fear continue to come up on top in these picks and these engages. And gosh, even though they just got this pick onto Lunacia on the bot side, I'm still just thinking about how Manui and Shochi were able to display exactly what we were talking about early on. Requiem will eventually hit strong, and turret destroyed. Philip low. Shochi rocket jumps in, but Perry also in some trouble. Onat has to retreat into the base. There's only a sliver of life left, and all of Fear were pushing up. They take down 2 members of Taco, and they're feeling good about this match.
Yeah, I mean, really good stuff from Cincinnati Fury to kind of stop a lot of the things that Team Fish Taco are actually going for. Again, though, Team Fish Taco, another big ultimate, another big combo coming out from NXI. But watch how Shoji turns around, instantly pushes Ona out of the fight. And even though Spawn is trying to participate in this one, he just doesn't have the vision, he doesn't have the damage to go forward, he doesn't have a front line to keep him safe, because he knows as soon as he jumps in, everybody on Cincinnati Fear turns to kill him immediately. And so Team Fish Taco, yet again, not able to capitalize on a really big combo coming out from NXI.
It did look good with the engage, but not enough of the follow-up there. And as you had pointed out, even though you don't get that immediate kill onto Onat, he can't get back in it. He can't dare step up to the members of Fear.
He dies to a static shift rock right on the backside of the fight. He can't walk in.
And they don't even have to get you directly. Like, there's so many things that can make you die, but Taco definitely feeling the brunt of that force on that one when they have the setup, but they just don't have the follow-up in a way that can match what Fear was able to do.
Yeah. And Shochi, once again, most farm in the game, 4-1-5, already on 4 items, faster than anybody else in the game. We are once again hitting a late game Shochi. It happened remarkably early last game, considering how many kills he had. He's not on the same track as he was last time. The Cincinnati Fear, get Daisy, get her!
Daisy!
Come on, come on!
Daisy does hit very hard. Going back in all shielded, but still only 50 HP, easy to get popped. Bit of a wall here created by Fear over this buff, and Harry able to secure it.
Yeah, continuing to just jockey back and forth, and I got a feel for NXI, right? Again, teleport coming out. We'll get back to that later. Shochi. Shochi.
Ripping into it. Teleport in. Charm. Requiem already activated, and the Weaver's wall set. Onat marked pretty low, and Shochi's got 2 targets on him. Goes in with the rocket jump, can double it up because of the reset. Lunacia, even Indominus, can heal up significantly, but NXI immediately popped with a triple from Shochi. And then going for it again. Okay, there was enough of a separation of a single member of Taco to prevent the Penta, but it's still a quadra from the Tristana.
And Shochi coming through yet again, even though he gets hit from the root from Ivern, it does not matter. Cincinnati Fear say, you're too short, you can't get on the roller coaster of the second round robin. And they once again fight a 2-0 here up against Team Fish Tacos. Philip, what are you doing, man? That's the second time you're ruining your KDA. How are we supposed to pump you up when your stats keep going down?
Just need a little bit of that sweet release here at the end. No growth spurt for Taco today. Fear take it 2-0.
Yeah. Honestly, great stuff, in particular from Shochi this series, right? Main character of the first game, main character of the second game, jumping around on this Tristana over and over and over. I thought he was getting caught at the very end, Gabby. I thought that was going to be an opportunity for Team Fish Taco to come back into the fight, but no. He jumps directly onto the guy who's trying to flank him, blows him up, forces him to flash, and there's just no way for Rose Thorn and Onat to turn around as the mid-jungle duo we said needed to pop off.
The pop-up was good from Shochi, and some moments from Taco, as you were just noting, that looked like they could make something happen and engage here from NXI, but still, it was Fear's game through and through, both in game 1 and 2. For now, though, we are going to kick it to a break. We're going to hear from a Victor on the side of Fear afterwards, before we get into our last series of the day. We'll see ya.
The LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car-sharing marketplace. Find your drive. Welcome back, everyone, to LCS Challengers League. I'm joined with the victorious Shochi after a pentakill. This is where I got to bring it in, man. What were the comms like? What was going on? What were people saying when that penta happened?
All right, so as I'm sure you know, that first game, I kind of had a 1v9. I was pretty stressed out because I had like all the gold, all the kills. So when I got the penta, like I wasn't even celebrating or being happy. I was just like, okay, guys, now we got to push bot. Let's get this tier 2. Let's reset. But the rest of my teammates were pretty happy for me, so that's pretty cool.
All right. Now moving on to game 2, there were a lot of moments where it felt like you were just committing crimes all over the place. You were going head first into these fights. Somehow you were escaping, man. You did it in mid lane. You did it in the top lane. Are you just this comfortable in Tristana? What is it?
Yeah, I think as a player, like, I'm more on the aggressive side, and Tristana is definitely a champion that gives you some kind of leeway. Like, if you get the reset, you can go and get out pretty easily, and especially when you have like that Karthus, it can kind of give you the nudge over the lethal threshold to be able to make some of those crazy plays happen.
Did Minui say anything in comms when he popped that Requiem for you?
The one at top lane, no. I thought I was completely dead, to be honest, whenever Kaisa and Rel jumped me. But I guess he just looked and he saw the ult, and then whenever I saw the ult, I decided, okay, I'm gonna blast Kaisa. And then I get the reset, then I'm out. So thankfully the illegal play kind of worked in our favor.
All right, seeing you on Tristana kind of takes me back to your Taco gaming days. I know this is an old bread and butter for you. What makes you favor this champ?
I don't know. I think she's been good for like a long while, but once they did the item reworks for ADC, I didn't really touch her until like this week, because I see she's being picked a lot in other regions. Like when I see like Showmaker and Chovy playing Tristana, like that's where I got the fleet footwork set up from. I just thought, okay, maybe she's still pretty good in the mid lane. So I don't know. She's just one of my favorite champions. You can 1v9 games, as you see.
Yeah, very clearly. Another champion capable of 1v9ing, just maybe not the way you wanted, Katarina. We saw you had locked that in last week.
Yeah.
What happened there?
No, well, I wasn't the one who locked it in. There's some miscommunication in the draft.
Throw shade. Who did it?
Okay, well, I'm not blaming. I don't blame anyone for it. It was just unlucky. Minui was like, okay, pick Aphelios, pick Syndra, pick Aphelios, pick Syndra, and then it was Perry's turn to pick, and it got down to 0 seconds, and he was just like, dude, what? And then the system instantly locked in Katarina, and we were like, ref, can we drop? And like something about the rule, like the rule didn't get communicated to us properly. But, you know, it's just a regular season game. Playoffs is all that matters, so...
Wait, were you telling me Perry just spaced out on it?
No, like, Minui was telling him to pick, like, a million different champions.
Oh, he was, like, overwhelmed.
The clock was running down, so... Yeah. I mean, playoffs is all that really matters. I tried my best. Like, I tried my best on the Katarina, don't get me wrong. But, that champ is not suited for competitive, that's all I'll say.
Alright, JJ had talked to me. He was saying how he and Minui tend to shot call a little bit more of the macro. Perry will call some more of the team fights. Do you have any specific role that you fulfill other than just plain ass kicker?
Like, I say for today, I was more vocal than I normally am, just because like when you're Mr. President, when you're the carry with all the gold, like you have to tell the little puppies what to do. Like you have to step up and be the big dog. So I say today I was definitely more vocal than normal, but normally my job is just like working with Perry and JJ, kind of feeding information about what's going on mid. Stuff like that.
That was a little more than Mr. President, by the way. That was like some Schwarzenegger action movie stuff going on.
Yeah. Rocket jumps and explosions everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Directed by Michael Bay. That's going to be your autobiography.
Okay.
Get a movie of it in the future.
Love that.
Reflecting on your first round robin, how do you feel about your performance, and what do you feel you need to work on most coming into the second round robin?
Okay, well, our first round robin, not looking too hot. We had some pretty bad weeks, dropped some games we shouldn't have, but I feel like we've ironed out a lot of the kinks that were kind of holding us back. And like even our scrims, like we were scrimming like 2 times a week before our matches. Like we weren't able to, just because scheduling conflicts with everybody. But heading into July in the second round robin, like we have busier weeks of scrims. We can get more stuff done. Like work on our issues that are actually holding us back. And I think especially against some of the teams that we struggled against, we'll be able to take them down during the second round robin.
I like that confidence. Got to hear more of it and got to see more of it, of course. Now, final question. Kangas had kind of goaded you before to trash talk someone. Now it's my turn to do the same thing. You called out music. You suplexed him. Who is next, Shochi? Who do you want to throw hands with?
I say maybe like Keel and Zamudo on Wildcard. Like they're kind of my boys a little bit, but you had the Katarina game, and then I don't know. That series was rigged. I'll say it. You'll see us in the second round robin. We'll take you down 2-0.
They're playing next too, so be sure to stay tuned in for that one. You got any shout outs, Shochi?
You know, as always, shout out my girlfriend, shout out my friends and family who support me, shout out all my teammates, everyone on Twitter, all the Discord servers that hype me up. You know, this split will be my split. So just thank you all for your continued support. It really means a lot.
I believe it, man. That was an exclamation point, all dotted with a pentakill. I want to thank you so much for joining me here on the interview, and I wish you the best of luck in your second round robin, brother.
Thank you, man. Have a good cast.
All right, we're going to send it over to a break. When we return, we'll get ready for our second series of the day, Supernova versus Wildcard.